Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the Marshfield Outdoors podcast here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, please. We're going to have some great content continually coming out each week, so you don't want to miss that. Next up, we have Carson and Lynsey Koury coming on to tell us all about their TV show, Final Draw. Appreciate y'all listening and hope you enjoy this next episode. All right, another week of the Marshfield Outdoor podcast is here, and on the other side of the screen, I have Carson and Lynsey Koury with me from Final Draw TV. Carson, I met Carson in, in August, it was, at the Virginia Outdoor Sportsman Show, and we went out to dinner. He bought us a nice steak, which was nice of him, so I appreciate that.
Well, he hardly does that for me, so you got a real treat.
I know, he must like me. And then
Thanks,
he took us out to ice cream after that.
I'm in trouble right off the bat. I don't like where this is headed at all.
Well, I wish Morgan could get on tonight and meet you, Lynsey, but she was there at the Outdoor Sportsman Show with us, and she's upstairs with the kids right now and making sure that they're kind of buffered from getting down the stairs because it'll get loud real quick, which I know you all know. But yeah, so how was your hunting season? Let's just start with that real quick because I loved following y'all throughout the whole season, and I was sending up some prayers and crossing my fingers because I knew it was a tough one leading into like November.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Yeah. I think me and you talked maybe through text or whatever, and I was just telling you, man, it was started off on fire. I mean, we went to Kentucky and Lynsey killed a awesome buck there, and I killed there a couple days later, and then it just went cold.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely
got a little nervous there.
Yeah,
for sure. We were thinking, what are we doing with our lives? What are we doing wrong? Lord, help us, please. And then all of a sudden, it just started picking back up again. I mean, good Lord willing, it was good.
Must have sent the right prayers up.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
Well, that's great. Well, yeah, I've loved keeping up with y'all throughout the season. And Carson, I knew we were trying to line up a secret deer hunt and trying to line up the podcast with you, but y'all were busy and really nervous about the tags to fill. But I really appreciate y'all being on tonight. Thank you so much. Well, Carson, like I said, we've talked already a little bit, and I really love the story behind Final Draw TV and like how it's come to be. But Lynsey, why don't we introduce yourself first and kind of also get your side of things as it was growing or coming to fruition? Because I know for me, Marshfield Outdoors, that comes from my dad's farm, Marshfield Farms. And us men sometimes have a one-track mind, and when we get something on our minds, we just go with it.
That is right. You are right.
Yeah, and Morgan, she really puts the reins on me and keeps me grounded, I guess, if you can say that. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about you real quick.
Well, basically, so I don't know if you know this, but me and Carson grew up across the street from each other, as across the street neighbors. I don't remember meeting him. We were just little, itty bitty, always playing together. Our sisters were always together. All our families were always together. But I did not grow up hunting at all. A couple of my friends did, and I was actually the girl that made fun of them for hunting. Like, what are you doing wasting your time in a tree? I have better things to do. I was actually a competitive dancer, and so I grew up dancing from 6 years old all the way up through college. And my dad, he says it to me at least, like, I don't know, especially during hunting season, about 5 times that 4 months. He always says, Lynsey, I paid so much money for you to be dancing and in costumes and ballet shoes, and now you are in a tree. But the reason why I got started hunting was because of him, because I knew he hunted. Again, I've known him my whole life, so I knew if I didn't at least go up and sit in a tree, I wouldn't see him 4 to 5 months out of the year. And so what actually got me was I shot a buck right out from underneath him, one that he was going to get. And he was right there beside me the whole time in the box behind. He was like, really? It's going to be like that? I said, that was fun. Let's do it again. And
you're in trouble now.
He started the bow shop.
Downhill from there.
Yeah, he started the bow shop, and then we both got more into bow hunting. But I often wonder if he regrets getting me into hunting. I think about that every hunting season, honestly.
No, it's probably a lot better to go that way than have somebody that doesn't understand. And that's how I feel. I mean, Morgan, she grew up duck hunting down at like Lake Gaston and stuff. That's where she grew up, around that area, South Hill, Virginia.
Yeah.
And so she grew up duck hunting, rabbit hunting. I don't know if she'd ever dated a guy that hunted as much as I did, because I think it was a little shocked to her, even though she's still. And, I've backed down some because I've had to, give some time for the family and stuff like that. But she's really enjoyed us doing the podcast. She's enjoyed how many people we've met. She's been my rock, like I've told you a minute ago. I get my wheels spinning, and it's just forward, full drive, 100 miles an hour, and that's the direction we're going. So I'm sure Carson enjoys it.
Oh yeah, I do, and I don't think I could be married to somebody that didn't hunt really, or didn't understand it, because that's my life. That's what I grew up doing since I was old enough to walk. So, when Lynsey got into it, what really shocked me about her is how quick she picked up on things. And I'm not saying that because she's here. I'm trying to get some of those brownie points back that you got me and pull in her. But she picked up shooting extremely quick, which a lot of women pick up shooting, or naturally make better shots than men quicker.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, it pains me to say this, but it's because they listen to the instruction.
There's no ego. There's no ego there.
Yeah. So anyway, she picked it up extremely fast. I remember her first shot out of the rifle was pretty close to bullseye. Second one was bullseye. This is 100 yards, and the third one was cut in the same hole. So from then on, it's just been game on, and then moved her into the bow thing. And it was cool with the bows, because when we first got started, she couldn't draw 35 pounds. And I remember going out in the yard over and over and grabbing her elbow and helping her pull the bow back, and she would just shoot and shoot and shoot. And now she's up to 65 pounds. So for a female, she's pretty strong. She beats up on me.
You don't talk back too much, I'm sure.
Not much, but right.
Well, I mean, so how long has Final Draw been going on now? This is season 7?
So, yes, we're airing season 7. We just finished filming season 8.
Right. So this whole time, so this has been 8 years that's really, or was it before Final Draw that you started getting into the bow, Lynsey?
So we've been into it, let's see, 8 years with Final Draw, and then we had 2 years of a show before that. That we transitioned over into Final Draw. And then the year prior to that, me and Lynsey got asked to be the husband and wife team on a regional TV show. And from there, we did it for a year, and I was like, I think we can do this. And just out and bought a camera and started filming, and that's where it, went from there. So God's definitely opened so many doors. I would have never thought we would be where we are. Not that we're anywhere special, but just to even be at this point, God's definitely opened those doors,
and he's also closed some doors too, and doors that we thought were the direction that he wanted us to go, but then he closed them, and then later on opened up another one. And it's pretty cool. You can look back and see, okay, he didn't want us to go down this way because he had something better for us down the road. So
yeah, and sometimes isn't that the hardest thing to understand, because sometimes those doors are like ones you want to go through, and you're like, that's definitely a good idea. Let's try it. And it doesn't work out. And it's just tough to listen to them.
That's right.
Sure.
Amen.
We just got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of how the podcast, and, I do a lot of self-filming and stuff. It's hard to get other people to invest in your idea or something and give up their time hunting and stuff like that. So, Morgan goes as much as she can. But, with the podcast, I never even listened to podcasts before. It's been a year now. March will be a year that I've had the podcast, and I've never really listened to podcasts before that. Never knew what they were. And when I went down this route, I thought I was just going to get into the filming and wanted to do the YouTube, and obviously with that and the podcast, 1,000 million other people are trying to do it. And so it's been neat looking back over the journey of the last year and seeing how things have developed, friendships, just hosting people on the podcast, and then also my faith. It's really brought me a lot closer to my faith. And it's the one way it has is this season I started the Faithful Outdoorsman segment. So now I'm putting out 2 podcasts a week, which my younger brother is co-hosting it with me. And we still base it and kind of have it go towards the hunting community. And with this part of the podcast, it's still part of this episode, but we dive into Bible study. We dive into things that we want to learn about or talk about in our faith and how we grow. So it's been really neat looking back, which kind of takes me to my next question with you is looking back over the last few seasons. or where you started at. Lynsey, how do you think it's progressed, or what have you learned, or what do you see that's, kind of stood out to you?
Oh my gosh, honestly, like we were talking about, God has opened up so many doors. And even 2 years ago, I would not have imagined the growth that we had, and up until this point. I don't know. What do you think?
For me, it's cool. I'd say one of the coolest things was when we started picking up more legit partners, and those guys actually coming and wanting to work with us was kind of a sign. It's crazy to kind of, I'm sure the podcast is the same way, but on a TV show side of things, it's tough to judge where you are. There's no set standard of anybody telling you, hey, you're right here, or you're right here, wherever you are. So I think that was really cool, seeing the partners come on, different partners, and then going to the ATA show and meeting guys that we watch on TV come up and talk about our show, which is super awesome and super humbling there. So that's been cool for us.
I got excited this season when I shot my buck in Kentucky. T-Bone started following me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he knows who I am!"
That's awesome.
Running around that room, and Carson's like, "What is wrong with her?" I said, "T-Bone's following me." I said, "Get on my level."
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
But
that's awesome. Good.
Never get. I say that all the time. I hope we never get used to that.
Right.
I mean, we never just get. I don't know. Just so. What's the word? Just other than used to it. Just so I don't know. I
don't have a big vocabulary.
I don't know. I just hope that always excites us.
Right.
I feel like, or like when a sponsor shares our picture, we both get so excited. And I just hope that. So I just want to be forever thankful for that, because we worked hard for it.
Yeah, grounded down to earth with it still. Yeah, I mean, I think just the the little bit that we've talked and hung out that weekend, Carson, I think that you all are doing it for the right reasons. I mean, I don't really know a whole lot of people outside of, or inside the industry a whole lot, but just from talking to us, I mean, I'd love to kind of go down the road a little bit, but you really had some crossroads, and I think a lot of it was missing some deer, and you're like, so I mean, when you get to those points, because it gets frustrating. I mean, myself, I get frustrated because self-filming and bow hunting is, I mean, I can barely film somebody else, like, as I'm learning, and trying to self-film is really tough. So, people get frustrated, and that's how you kind of get off the wagon and stuff. So when you're going through those times, well, I mean, obviously God was probably your biggest stronghold that you kind of held on to. But what was that like?
So I will tell you, and honestly, Chad, I had the coolest thing happen this year. And, I want to give you this real quick, but anyway, to answer your question really quickly, just falling back on faith. And a lot of times for me personally, when I get in those struggles, it's because, God's trying to get my attention on something.
Get a little ahead of yourself.
Yeah. You're getting you when I try to take the reins and I try to go through that door that I'm not supposed to be going through, that's when it's locked, and that's when I hit my head against the wall or go into those struggles. So just having to take a step back and realize, I'd say this year was probably the best year I've ever had, the confidence that I wasn't in. God had something planned for me other than what I was trying to get through, and that was shown to me this year. It was pretty awesome. So anyway, that went along with the struggle from this year. So
So I mean, can you dive into that a little bit? Like, what was shown to you through this year, and just getting through the struggles, or?
Yeah, so beginning of the year, we started off on fire in Kentucky. I was like, all right, we're rolling now. Here we go. Same as last year or the year before. We had a phenomenal season, killed in Kentucky, and then never let up. Just boom, boom, boom. And just a little backstory for those of you who don't know, we have to have 13 episodes a year to air on Sportsman's Channel. So that's a lot of hunting, a lot of success that we have to have each year.
Is that deer and turkey, or is that 13 episodes total?
It's everything, yeah. But we run one turkey show. Now we're on 52 weeks, so we'll start putting out more turkey shows. But nobody really wants to see turkey shows during the middle of September. We're ready to go deer hunting.
Right.
But anyway, we started off on fire, and then we went through a hole. And I will tell you this, Chad, me personally had probably the best year as far as getting on big deer, rattling deer up, making moves, getting on deer. I mean, I saw, and I hate to throw out inches numbers, but I don't know how many 160s this year that I had in bow range or within, within 80 yards. Just to the point to where it had got, all right, this one didn't work out. Where's the next one? And it was just places I was hunting and everything was lined up. But I was going through these struggles. And have you ever gone through that? I call it, the best way I can relate to it is sometimes you feel like God's sitting right here with you and you're talking to him, y'all having a great conversation. And then sometimes it feels like you're trying to yell at him through a wall. You go through those times. I think those Christians. And I was going through that. So at the beginning of the year, before season even started, I just knew I wasn't having that open conversation with God like I wanted. And I just, in the past, I would freak out about it, be like, oh gosh, I knew now through many times that, first of all, God never moves. We know that we move away. But I knew to have the patience, to have the focus. Hey, you go through these dark periods. David talked about it. Couldn't hear God for a while. So we all go through these struggles. Well, I'm sitting there at the beginning of the year and I'm like, man, I just, I'm not having that close relationship like I want to. And God, I want to get closer. I want to be there. I want to be there. Well, as the season started progressing, I started feeling a little bit closer and feeling closer, but we still weren't killing anything. And I was like, God, I've got 100% faith that you're going to get this thing done, that we're going to get our shows that we need. I'm trying not to freak out a little bit, but here we are getting into November. So one thing after another was happening. I mean, just dumb stuff. Buck coming straight in, wind swirl, boom, he's gone. Come in, stop behind a limb. Come in, cameraman's not on him. Just one thing after another.
We were oftentimes a day late in a dollar store. Like I remember in Oklahoma, we moved our sets 5 or 6 times in that week. And if we had just moved if we were, the day before, if we were in a tree stand, then it would have happened. But we were in another stand the day after. It was just
playing cat and mouse the whole time.
Thing after another. Well, I will never forget this, Chad. I was in Kansas and I'd been talking to God, and then all of a sudden, man, it was like warm air just came into the stand. We're sitting there and I was like, all right, here we go. I'm back, man. It's, and God's in the blind with me, so I got fired up. And he said, it was the last day of the hunt. And he spoke to me. He said, 9:01, I'm going to show you something.
Don't want y'all to miss out on this exclusive Hat Club deal. 20% off each month, $26 is the price. And you can get a hat just like this or this one and many more that we're coming out with that's going to be exclusive to our Hat Club. Click that link below and join our exclusive Hat Club. You don't want to miss out.
I said, all right, here we go. We hadn't killed anything. This is November, stressing out, but God's right here. He said, I'm going to show you something. So I sat there till 9:02, didn't see a thing. I said, awesome. Well, get down out of the stand, and we're hunting this little bitty wood block. And I get out, step around the corner, and I look up, and there's a buck bringing a doe into our little wood block. If I would have stepped out a minute before or a minute after, I would have never seen this. But he said he was going to show me something, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, awesome, man. So I get back in the stand, sitting there waiting. I said, here he goes. God said he's going to show me something. Here he is. I saw the buck. He's coming straight to me. This not but 10 acres of woods, and we're hunting over a food plot. Can't be any better than this. Well, 2 little satellite bucks come out into the food plot looking around. I said, you've got to be kidding me. They were staying downwind of the buck and doe, and the buck on down through the woods somewhere. So I was like, oh. Well, anyway, I'm back. This is great. So we go to Illinois, and I'm sitting there in the stand every day. Just God is going to bring one in. Something big is going to happen. Rattle one up, get behind a limb, couldn't shoot him. Next day, rattle another deer up, gets over there downwind from us, wins us, takes off. Next day, rattle one up. He gets behind some brush. Well, he comes out in my opening, and he's getting ready to come in this opening. He's walking. I'm going to have to stop him in one hole and shoot him. And as soon as I stop him to shoot, by the time I let go of the arrow, he's getting in the hole, and I did not see the vine that was right there. Arrow hits the vine, tips off. Lord have mercy.
I kept getting text messages from him, just shot out of booner, out of stud, and then he doesn't say anything. I'm like, what happened? He's like, hit a limb. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls.
So anyway, and at this point I'm sitting in the stand and I'm having a great time because I'm calling up really good deer, having great interactions, and I'm just talking to God. So I'm in good shape. I'm trying to get one killed. And I got to thinking about it, making the moves that we made this year and getting on these deer and getting on all this stuff and just wasn't happening. And then all of a sudden, that's when God spoke to me again. And this is the coolest thing. And this is going to relate to a lot of hunters, I believe. I had done everything I could. And like we do in life, I had done everything I could to get on deer. I had made phenomenal moves, pinch points. I mean, we're hunting non-baited states, so you're having to make these moves and stuff. Gotten in front of several big deer over and over again. And then that's when God said, you can do all that you can do. Do everything you want to. You can push it as hard as you want to, but I'm the distance between the deer and you.
Mm-hmm. Makes
and
sense.
that, you can get on the deer, but if God doesn't want to make it happen, he'll slap the arrow down. And I think
vine.
yeah, the vine or anything. He can make the wind change or whatever.
Right.
But I relate that to life. It wasn't just a hunting scenario. We try to push stuff and make stuff go our way.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do everything we want to, but if God doesn't want to make it happen, it's not going to happen.
Amen.
So,
yeah, no, that's great.
Anyway, long
story. That's just like most of us. And Brady, my brother and I were talking last week. And sometimes, it's hard to think how people really make it in the world without faith, without God. Like, what are they living for? What do they do when they get in these situations where, I'm sure they feel some type of calling. I think everybody does. I know he wants them to come to him, but if you don't know or you don't believe, what do you turn to? And lucky for us, especially in the outdoors, we get to not only worship the Creator, but we get to live amongst His creation. Mm-hmm. And those things remind us every day, sunrises, sunsets, the deer that you see, everything, and it reminds us. And, I was looking through Facebook the other day, looking for old pictures and stuff, and I ran across the day I got baptized. It was a video. It was in 2015, May. And I had gone down to North Carolina, actually, to talk to the guys at Cross Trail Outfitters. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah, that's not far from.
And so I went down there and I went to church that morning with them. They had invited me down, and I was going to try to start a little chapter in Virginia. At that point, I was pretty young. 15 to now, so whatever that age is. But, and I get to the church, and the preacher is like, "Hey, do you mind giving your testimony this morning?" I was like, "What?" I was like, I'm not good at public speaking, especially in a church I don't know. And this is kind of going back to doors that get open that you may not want to go through. And then you try to bust through doors that you shouldn't. So I get up and give my testimony that morning in front of this church, my parents were sitting there, and one of my best friends that I'd turkey hunted with all that season because I was living back down there at home. And it was just the craziest thing. And then after that, he was like, "Have you ever been baptized?" I said, "No." I said, "But I want to." He said, "All right." He said, "Let's go down to the duck swamp." I said, "Okay." Went down the duck swamp right there under the water. I went and back up, and it's just things like that since 2015 to now, I know I've strayed and gone away, and never gone away from my faith. But just like you were talking about, sometimes you're closer to God than others. Yeah. And kind of like you were saying, in November, it was November this past year. I was looking at my girls and looking at Morgan and thinking about running the podcast, the new season of the podcast. And I was like, season 2, just those few months that I ran season 2 was seek your existence was my theme. Right. And I had always kind of been going down this road of my existence as a hunt, my existence being the outdoors, but it's now I have the Faithful Outdoorsman. And that's this season. And in November, when I was sitting in the deer stand and I was really praying, he was like, "You need to know me." And when I got to that point of hearing him say that or feeling that call, I was like, "What does that mean?" Well, I had never really sat down and read the Gospels, right? So I went through, and I think we might even talked about it, Carson, when we were at the show at dinner that night. I sat down and I went through all the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. and over and over, over and over, over and over. And like,
That's
I
a blessing.
started really understanding who he was. And, even being brought up in the church my whole life, that was the point of where I first really knew him.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how things, when it's time, when it's your time, he puts it in place for you, and hopefully you listen.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just a little bit insight on my last year too. It kind of relates to that, but just knowing what doors are going to be open when they're open, and having faith to walk through them, I think is a big step for anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what does this year look like for y'all?
Hopefully a lot of killing. Hopefully.
You're going on a bear hunt in the spring, right?
Yes, June. Yep.
June. Where's that at?
Nicktaw Lodge is the outfitter, and it's in Nicktaw, New Brunswick. So we've been up there 3 times before, and then obviously COVID shut everything down, and you couldn't get in. This is the first year that's opened back up to everybody.
Yeah. Lynsey, you're going too?
I wish I was. I just can't swing that trip because it's a week long and it's Canada and there's no cell service. So I told him I love a bear. I want to kill a bear badly, but my thing is I want to get a moose in Canada. And so we're saving that, hopefully, to get a moose.
Awesome.
And just to clarify on the no cell phone signal, it's because she's so hooked to Instagram and social media. I'm just
it's not calling, checking on the kids.
So my mom is our babysitter while we're out of town, and she only gets a couple weeks. Lynsey gets a couple weeks where she can go out of town. So for us to be whitetail is really what we need to focus on. We can only leave town both at the same time for a couple of weeks.
Right. We have to use our time wisely.
Yeah. So
no, I know how tough that is. I mean, I'd love for Morgan to be able to hunt more, and maybe I should stay home and let her hunt. I don't know. I get selfish sometimes.
No.
Yes, you should.
I did do
Morgan after this.
I did do a week this year where I watched the kids, and Lynsey went to Ohio and hunted. So,
okay, yeah. Well, there you go. See, he's pulling his weight too, right?
Yeah. The second day, he was like, "How do you do this? Come back home now."
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what, I was like that because Morgan went on a girls' weekend, and it was just a Saturday night, and come home Sunday. I was like, "Come home."
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But we have I kind of talked to you. I think hopefully we can line up a Seek a Deer hunt. I'd love to do that. And we can do that in December. Or, if you wanted to push it a different week, we could. I know y'all be hunting deer pretty hard September through December. I'm going to go to Manitoba in September to hunt black bears with the bow. And then turkey season, I'm trying, last year I did Chasing 3 series. I just started turkey hunt with the bow the last 2 years, and I missed my 3rd tag the first year. I mean, it just whiffed, and it was like the last day of season. So the last year was Chasing 3. That was kind of like my theme of turkey season, and I ended up going the first week and a half and doing that, and I was like, well, dang. Well, maybe this year, if it happens again, I'll try to do like another state or like Maryland or something around close by, something like that. But I'm looking forward to that. Turkey hunting is my favorite thing to do.
I love.
We wake up well before anyone or anything else. We have spent our time studying, researching, and planning. As one day, these are lessons that will be handed down to our kids and our grandkids. We believe in buying a tag, even if we know we may not harvest an animal, as it will go to protecting the future for our kids. Now, we have taken it a step further. With every bag of bear beans sold, 10% will go to protecting the environment and animal populations, so the traditions that were handed down to us will get passed down once again.
Love turkey hunting,
especially with the bow. Like with the bow, I am ate up with it.
It is a challenge. I mean, to have a turkey 5 yards away from you, and you have to, and they're so smart, and they can see so good. You have to raise up your bow and draw back without them seeing. It's a whole nother rush. I mean, I tell people all the time, why do drugs when you can hunt? Seriously,
Right.
it's the best adrenaline rush
I'm like,
ever. Yes.
I can't even pull the bow back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started shooting them at. She was talking about we do 5 or 6 steps, and when we were shooting them at 20 yards, I was losing a ton of them,
Mm-hmm.
just having the success. And then when we started bringing them into 5 and 6 yards, the success rate of killing them with the bow is just going through the roof. So
Yeah,
of course,
I was stepping them off at like 15, 12 or 15. One I had to chase down, but
We've done that too.
shoot, I was like, and then I was nervous about chasing because there was, a broad hit on the other side. I was like, I better not trip when I get up to him.
Love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely fun. It'll be here before we know it.
That's right.
I know it. Yeah. No, my dad, we started turkey hunting when I was like 10 or probably 11. We didn't have many turkeys at the farm. And he started hunting about the same time I did. So it was a learning process for us. And one time we were walking out of the field, and there's a bunch of different landowners, but we're all friends and stuff. And a gobbler that we had heard that morning, he had shut up, and I guess we bumped him. Well, when we were walking out, he took off just gliding across the field, and we unloaded both shotguns on him. They were like, "Good God, what'd y'all get into?" We didn't hit one.
That thing's tough. Yeah.
I was like, these things are tough.
They are tough. And then when you shoot them with a bow, you don't want them to fly away, but most of the time they do fly away, and then they underneath all the brush, and you're like, where are you? I know I shot you.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely an added challenge.
Yes.
Yeah. I enjoy it.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I went and did I guess last year was my first year filming.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so nervous about shooting the turkey and making sure they didn't see me and trying to get some good footage. And I was like, I was a nervous wreck. I don't know how I didn't see the blind shaking the whole time.
Yeah. You get them in, especially if you, like I said, we get them 5 and 6 yards. You get to hear some noises that you normally don't hear, when they're out there at 20 and 40 yards with a shotgun. So, we might pop a couple grapes this year though with a shotgun. I'm not sure yet. We've put blinds around and stuff for 7 years, so we'll see.
It's tough. I mean, it takes. I mean, toting those blinds around is not fun. I mean, it's not like you can just go. You could probably set them up and just sit them, but I mean, I'm moving mine every day. If one farm's I feel like it's hotter than the other, I'd get up, because I didn't bring it out that night or that day before because I was being lazy. Had to get up at 3 the next morning and go move it and break it down, and it was miserable, but I enjoy it.
We've had the most success, and people think I'm crazy when I tell them we do this, but we'll go in at 9, 10 o'clock at night and slip into as tight into an area where I think they are, and put up the blinds, set the decoys up, and I'll keep the decoys in the blinds so they don't get frost on them or do how cold it is. But I'll go ahead and clean everything out, have the stakes out, decoy stakes, put my bags over them just so we can find them in the morning. But I've had more success going in at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And what people don't realize, they're like, well, they hear you walking through the woods. They hear stuff when they're on the roost. They hear stuff all night.
Yeah.
It's a deer, it's a coyote, it's whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I did that, and it kind of got to the point where I didn't really pay attention too much. I'd go in as early as I thought I needed to, but last year, Carson and Lynsey, I had something cool happen. Bow hunting is a little bit different than just running and gunning, right? You all know that. And I was scouting, and I had found a dust bowl, and so I just put my cell camera on it. And every day, like between 9 and 12, different groups of hens would come, and there'd always be a couple of gobblers with them. And I set within 50 to 100 yards of that dust bowl and kill all 3 of those turkeys last year, just like a scrape. And it was the craziest thing. I mean, gobbler after gobbler would be coming by there, like checking for the hens almost. And I was like, it's like deer hunting.
That's awesome. I like that.
It was neat. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It'll be here, and then it'll be gone. Then we'll be on to looking for velvet. So.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that. We got one of the farms that actually all the bucks that were on that barrel, they came from. It's been in corn the last 2 years, and it had always been beans. It's a guy that he pretty much has my dad like harvest the beans or whatever the crop, and another guy plant it, and they just kind of use it for land use, which is nice, and let us hunt. And when it's beans, it is tremendous. When it's in corn, I have a really tough time hunting it because it's 60 acres of corn and they just stay in the corn.
Oh, yeah.
And around the edges, it's just like probably 10-foot tall cedars, which they just don't have to go far. They can bid in the corn, they bid right in their cedars, and it's just really tough. And I haven't had great success the last 2 years, even with, I put some food plots in and stuff over there. And but this year with going back to beans, I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm gonna take. I don't know if you're doing it or not, but when those beans, when the leaves start falling off the beans, go out there and spread seed, wheat, and whatever else you want to, over turnips, whatever. Have you done that yet?
I haven't there. Usually my dad gets it flown on all his fields.
Okay.
Like wheat, he'll get the wheat flown on when the beans start dropping leaves for his cover crop.
Okay, cool. Heck yeah, that's awesome. Oh, they did that up there.
Yeah,
but we did that for like in small sections, the clover and oats and stuff mixed in little small, and it turns into a food plot. That as soon as it's cut,
it's there.
Yeah, so you
that's a good idea. I should probably do that because the one thing, once the beans are off there, they just leave. I mean, they don't leave, but they just start finding other food sources. They're not continually coming there. So that I definitely will think about that because it's been tough. I mean, the lucky thing about that farm is because it's not any of the farmer's actual crop, it's usually the last one to get cut. So I get lucky with that.
Heck yeah. Well, what is y'all's rifle season there in Virginia?
Starts like this. So bow season starts the first weekend of October, and then it goes for 4 weeks. And then the first 2 weeks of November is black powder. And then from end of that all the way through December to first or second weekend of January, it's rifle.
Okay.
General firearms. So you get like a whole month and a half.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, we got a long rifle season here too. So if we didn't, because we are a bait state, which you add bait plus a 2-month rifle season, it's really tough to get a deer past 2 years old here. Yeah. But our genetics are phenomenal. I mean, we would rival Kentucky, no doubt, if we had a shorter gun season.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about talking to like your Department of Game about or getting in on like their management plans and stuff?
Yeah. So they actually put it up for a vote 3 years ago, I believe, to shorten the gun season a little bit. And the problem is where the guys run dogs and everything, they come to the meetings, and then the people that are against shortening the gun season would go to the meetings. The people that want to shorten the gun season never showed up. But North Carolina's kind of funny, man. We're going through a transition period now, and what's going to get these laws changed? And I'm not against gun hunting, so I cut my teeth gun hunting. If I don't shoot another deer with a rifle for the rest of my life, I've shot enough. But to get the quality of deer and the management side of it, I feel like that's what we need to do is shorten the season. But North Carolina's gone from, if you saw a spike or whatever, you shot it. Back when I was growing up, if we heard a deer walking through the woods, I flipped the safety off because I knew I was going to shoot something. And there was none of this management stuff. But in the transition of the tobacco fields being gone, they've been transitioned over to wheat and beans and corn. The deer have just gotten better. And then trail cameras, back when I started hunting, there wasn't a trail camera. And now people see that instead of that 8-pointer that they normally would shoot, there's a big 12 that's coming in behind him. So they're passing the 8. So that's helping to get things, bigger deer in the area, better genetics, and people are just holding off. But in our part of North Carolina, north central North Carolina, the blocks are so small that a buck could be on 5 different pieces of property.
Right.
And not
everybody has the common goal of shooting a big buck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and then, you got to think if there's 2 big bucks on your area and they get killed, well, your neighbors, whether they killed them or not, they're going to go to the next biggest thing. And going to go, once those get killed, they're going to go down to the next biggest thing because there's a need to fill that tag. And hey, I shot me an 8-pointer this year.
Right.
So
yeah. Yeah, no, I understand because I went through that because I didn't shoot a buck at all last year. I had, with the deer that we've been producing at the farm, I've been able to have great success on really nice deer. And then this year I was like, I got to shoot an 8-pointer. And I shot one. So it just worked out like that. And I feel it. Sometimes it just burns a hole in your pocket and you got to use it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
for sure.
You know, I just had Turkeys for Tomorrow on last week.
Mhm.
And great organization. I think they're getting ready to celebrate 2 years now. And we were talking about, you know, different research projects they were doing and stuff like that, which I think I would love to get more into it on the deer side and the turkey side in our state, because our state is so different. And I know it's broken up into like 2 regions, I guess, with the deer with east or west of the Blue Ridge. But we have such a huge population of deer up here where I'm at, like 65 miles like south of DC. And I think that things need to change per like almost region. Whereas you go down to Dinwiddie or something like that down towards the southern part of the state, they're still seeing deer, but not like we have here. And they have like, you know, a few doe days and stuff like that, where the guys running dogs and stuff, they get kind of fed up because they've been feeding dogs all year and they only get like 2 days and then a week of doe season.
Yeah.
So that makes them, you know, kill smaller deer. Because, I mean, they're going to pull the trigger, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that's why they're out there. So I wish, and even with the turkeys, now we have a huge turkey population around where we're at. I've been seeing it grow. And we're supposed to get our new turkey management plan this year, and I'd love to get on the panel or something with that. But it's just, I don't think you can encompass a whole state under the same regulations.
You can't. Like we talk about gun hunting and stuff, and which ours is broken up into 3 regions. We have Eastern, Central, and then the Western region. And we do a decent job of it. I think that we could get a little bit tighter on the central part. Eastern, them swamps and stuff are so thick, man. I wouldn't want to go in there if I had to. So that is a great run dogs. I mean, you got those wide open fields. It's a gun hunter's paradise, really.
Right.
You can cut the dogs loose, you can shoot as far as you want to, and there's a ton of deer. We have a ton of deer in Central North Carolina, but we also have the genetics and some really good deer. I'm sure you probably heard of like Rockingham County, Alamance County, Guilford, and places like that. We're getting some really solid deer out of this little triangle now. So.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I wish they would do something different instead of just business as usual, because I think the hunters would be satisfied and gold would be met on that side, like the social side of it. And I think, you know, we would see, you know, we had some problems with CWD starting to creep in. Well, that's because we have so many deer. I mean, it's just inevitable. You know, that's God's way of handling overpopulation in an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I just wish that our biologists would do something different with their management plans, and just instead of rolling over the same one each year, which seems like it is, you know, business as usual. So I don't know. We'll see.
And one thing we down here is our biologists will put forth some really good information, but the commissioners that actually vote on, they're the ones that are the kind of like, you know, doing what's maybe not beneficial for everybody. So ultimately they have the last say.
Well, Carson, Lynsey, I appreciate tonight. I think it's been awesome hearing both your stories, and I've enjoyed getting to know Carson, you over the since August, and Lynsey, it was awesome meeting you tonight. I hope y'all have a blessed year this year in hunting, and hope you kill all the turkeys with the bow and let him tote the camera around.
That's right. That's the plans. Always the plan.
That's right.
I will say that's one good thing about the show growing a little bit is now we have camera guys instead of me having to take time out of my day to film her or give up my hunt to film her.
Right. So. Yeah. No, that's exactly where it comes down to. I mean, Morgan will be like, all right, I'm hunting today. I'm like, oh, yeah, you can hunt today. Or, you know.
She'll let you hunt when it's 75 and she's going on the cold front.
Right. Yeah.
That's,
still 75-degree weather.
It's just in us. We just love it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, so where can they find the Final Draw TV season 7 right now that's aired?
So right now it's actually still airing on Sportsman's Channel. Sunday nights at 10, and then other daytime airings, so you can set the DVR. And then Mossy Oak Go app. So we're on the Mossy Oak Go app, which is a really cool app. I don't know if you have that or not, but it's free. And all of season 7 is actually up there, and it got released a little bit earlier than it was supposed to. So anyway, if you want to see it and you don't have network, you can go to the Mossy Oak Go app, and then MOTV, obviously, and all our older stuff's on YouTube and other social media stuff. So
yeah, Well, yeah, y'all continue to follow Final Draw TV. Look at all their videos; they got some great stuff, and I think Lynsey definitely puts the hurting on some big bucks as well. So y'all continue watching them.
Yeah,
Continue.
like
Well, Morgan. I think Morgan. She hasn't killed a deer in a few years, and she's itching. And we're just at that 4 and 2 year old stage where she's like, I'm just gonna stay with the babies for a little bit longer, and that's fine. But she's gonna want to get back in the woods real soon. So
that's awesome.
Well, we'll have to get up and go hunting somewhere, North Carolina, Virginia, somewhere.
that's fine. Well, we're definitely gonna set the date for the Sika deer hunt, and whether you have tags filled or not, we're gonna make it happen.
All right,
That's
let's
right.
do it. Let's plan on it.
We all continue to watch or keep up with the Marshfield Outdoor podcast, and right after this, the Faithful Outdoorsman segment with Brady will be on, and we'll see you in the woods.